So tell me about the Queen Mary. That's the beginning for you guys.
That's the number
definitely.
one origin.
And you went there to do what?
So what was really interesting is we did a lot of the abandoned stuff, but every once in a while we would do like a haunted thing because those creepy stories and, you know, the lore of everything is really interesting, whether or not you believe in it or not. At that time, we didn't really believe in any of the ghost stuff. We're like, all right, but this is going to be a great video because everyone loves telling the stories. But we just got, I don't know what it was, but someone forwarded us something saying that for the first time in 30 years, the Queen Mary in Long Beach, which is like one of the most haunted ships, like New York Times, like top 10 most haunted places in the world.
We filmed Fear Factor there once.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Okay.
It's a
then.
beautiful ship.
They do a comedy show there sometimes.
No way.
Didn't know
Yeah,
that
for a
either.
while they had a regular comedy night there on the Queen Mary.
Yeah, I didn't realize how like famous it was, but they have that. They have like haunted houses. They have a ton of different attractions there. But there's this one room, B340, that hadn't been open for 30 years, and allegedly they closed it down because there's multiple unexplained murders and or suicides in that room. And we're like, whoa, like, you know, if this is the first week this is open after 30 years, this is going to be an amazing like story to tell or, you know, video film. And so we went in there trying to make something or like trying to get something. We obviously didn't really believe in that much, so we were like, all right, let's just see if it happens. If there's going to be a haunted location, it'll be this. We toured around, did the whole thing, weren't getting much, and we were kind of frustrated at that point because we're like, all right, this is supposed to be the cream of the crop. This is supposed to be the big wig. Like, why can't we get something to happen? And so it was 4 o'clock in the morning at this time. We've been trying for hours of just sitting in circles, like asking out.
And
saying,
we didn't
like,
have
okay.
any equipment at this time. This is like the first place we ever went to, so we were just like meandering like the hallways, being like, "Is anything here?"
Yeah, like just
seeing
trying to
if
get something to
anything
happen
happened.
Right.
on camera, and nothing was happening. And so we're like, fine, I guess let's do this. Let's just like leave. Like it's fun to tell the story. Let's just leave. And so we turn off the camera, start packing up. We start walking towards the door, and as soon as we turn, actually we're about to like get out of the room, the faucet turns on like full blast for 4 seconds and then turns back off. And we all actually freeze and freak out. 2 of our roommates that were there at the time just immediately started crying. We ran in. We were like, okay, how is that actually possible at all? Maybe that's a sign of it doesn't want to be filmed and it doesn't want us to leave. So maybe let's just not film this and try one more time just for the heck of it. And so that's what we did. But this time it worked. And to the weirdest extent, we just put away all of our cameras. We sat in the most serious tone saying okay guys, before this didn't really believe, so if this is happening, let's have something happen. And so we all sit in the dark together and we start calling out questions. And we're like, okay, is there anybody here? And we hear a knock. And so we're like, okay, maybe that's something.
Very faint though. It was like a tap.
Like a tap. And so we're like, okay, let's just run with that. Can you tap more than once? And there was 3 taps. We're like, okay, this is really weird. Can we start asking questions?
And how loud are you saying this? Is it possible that someone could have heard you from another room?
That's what we thought. So going, we were talking probably like this, but then there was times where we talk really quiet. And we tested everything. But so what we did is we decided let's ask questions using these taps. So we said tap once for yes, tap anything more than once for no. We had a yes or no conversation for 35 minutes with something that we cannot explain. Mm-hmm. And we did everything because we were skeptical at this point.
Did you film any of this?
We didn't think so. But apparently one of our friends who's super religious was hey, no matter what, the entire night he was keeping an audio recording in his pocket.
We had no idea.
We had no idea that he was doing that.
So nobody talked about it. So if there was something there, it didn't know either.
Yeah, we had no idea he had pulled that out. We genuinely were okay, no one's filming. We even say in this audio recording, no one's filming. This is no bullshit. Everyone, please, be serious about this. And so we had this conversation back and forth, and we tried to trick it. We would ask questions in different manners, okay, is there more than one of you? Yes. And then we'd say, are you alone? And it would say no. Back and forth, trying to get this thing, and the story kept straight the entire time. Mm-hmm. And we were okay, come on, there could be someone screwing with us. This is on, the news of being haunted place.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, what was crazy about it too is all the knocks, they weren't just coming from one section. That would make sense if maybe something outside was tapping. These knocks would be below us and then above us to our sides. Some would be louder than other ones. We went out to the hallway a couple times, and we realized that we were like the last room, besides like this like utility room to our left. And obviously we had like basically that whole like floor to ourselves, as well, since it was super late.
Yeah, and then like sometime in the middle, we were like, okay, like let's like ask a question under our breath.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like this thing does not want us to leave. And at that moment, the entire floor shook. Boom! Like we were like, oh my god, what was that? Was
You
something
could feel the vibration in your feet.
crashing on the ship or something? It was huge. And so we're like, okay, so this thing doesn't want us to leave, and maybe we should just like ask questions under our breath for the rest of the time, just so we know it's not some employee, it's not someone like screwing with us the entire time. So fast forward to the very end, we were like, okay, we've had a bunch of conversations. At this point, we really believe if this is truly something, I want to know something about something deeper than just yes or no questions, or just like something silly of like how many people are here. So I decided, let's ask about religion. And I ask out, is there a heaven? And it knocks 3 times, meaning no. And at that point, our 2 religious friends that were there like immediately jumped up and said, we have to leave right now.
And we had no idea
We're
why.
like, why? What's going on? Like, I'll tell you in the car. Like, just don't look back. Let's go. Let's leave. And so we walked out. We left. We got all the way to the car without anyone saying anything. And as soon as we got in the car, we're like, what's going on? Like, why do we have to leave? He's like, well, in the Christian religion, anything like demonic or evil is supposed to, like, basically disprove that there is a heaven in order, you know. And so what they were saying is like, we don't think this is some like spirit or something paranormal there. We think it was something that was trying to lead you away from heaven or Christianity.
Demonic territory type thing. But that also just depends on what you believe in. Obviously, like our roommates were very, very Christian, very religious. And so when they heard the knocks saying no, they thought it was just kind of like a sign from like a demon to like steer us away from God, saying like this does not exist. And so they without question ran before we could even, like we kind of were wanting to stay there to ask more things.
It was really interesting.